Council would have made that work. But, you know, whatever.
What you reading?
Oh, this is just some, we got our plan
Oh, okay.
for petition.
Yeah, I remember that book, I think, where's mine?
That location is, man, it's like the death zone. Everything that comes up there is like,
Hey, Harvey, how you doing, sir? You all right, young man?
Doing good.
Good, good.
all in the avenues of God over there, avenues of Liverpool. Their presentation was, don't come in like, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it needed some work. Yeah. Yeah, don't treat me like a good you're already, just the property you own, you already know, it don't matter what you do with it. If you said, listen, if you'll just approve it, I swear to God, I'm giving out $100 bills to everybody that still gets hurt. Be sorry. Yeah, sorry, man.
Charger, hey. Y'all got a charger down there?
So technically, I got one right here.
Huh?
Yes.
Unplug that joker. I'm not sure if you got juice down here though.
I know.
Make sure you do.
That's what she says.
I plugged mine in about an hour ago. I'm like, whoops. Usually I do it in the morning.
See, it's not, there's no juice.
I'm
There's-
laughing
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah.
You got a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'm
good.
laughing with you because, yeah.
Usually I do it first thing in the morning. But I ain't been busy at work in 2 months, and the last couple of days I've been busy as all get out, so my brain's been scrambled.
Yeah, that's how, I mean, I have been just
I'm not used to.
non-stop busy.
I'm used to being real busy, and then the last couple of months I've been sitting on my butt. So I done got real spoiled from rotting.
It never stops.
Nope.
Yeah, I've got end of semester and finals and stuff.
Blah. Yep. You'd be proud of me. I'm performing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm ordained for the church anyway. It's for Nicole.
Oh, that's right.
That's a whole element to my,
You better tighten it up, girl. Better walk the line, girl.
it's very stressful.
I believe it is. I know it is.
Oh, being a pastor's wife? Oh, yeah.
First of all, I just, but not,
Being a pastor's wife is rough.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, sometimes my wife just gets nervous.
just decided that I have to. When I work at time, she'll.
You got time to deal with nonsense? Yeah.
Yeah, my job is to report. That's all I think.
As a wife, that's your job. That's right.
That's it.
Both works both ways, right?
Sean gets upset because sometimes she doesn't like when people, church people treat her.
See, church people, just like they're dead people, they're just people.
And just have to,
Grace.
yeah. Oh, is it,
City things.
So they came back to subdivide.
Yeah, they withdrew their application for the data center.
602.
Yeah, they were.
Chairman.
But they didn't ask for.
Chairman,
Yes.
Bring
We
it.
got 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
It's time.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I got somewhere. She got somewhere to
We
go.
are going to go ahead and get started.
I got somewhere to go.
Are you ready? Welcome to the City of Douglasville Planning Commission meeting. I am Francisco Artley, the chairman for the Planning Commission. The other members of the Planning Commission are Keith Burnett, the vice chair, Natalie Fegan, Nathan Zachary, Joy Bates, Ralph Benton, and Mark Van. The staff members are Shaylee Reed, Community Development Director, Miranda Jordan, Staff Attorney, Marissa Jackson, Planning and Zoning Administrator, and Chelsea Tubbs, Planner 1. There are a few protocol items I need to make you aware of before we start the meeting. Please listen closely on how tonight's meeting will be conducted. Keep your comments and presentation on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this commission to make its decision. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You'll receive a warning from the chair if you deviate from this requirement. A second deviation will result in a request for you to leave the meeting and the premises for the evening. Refrain from any applause or comments from the audience. Only one person will be talking at a time, and all comments will be made at the podium after the speaker has been recognized by the chair. Please direct all comments to the chair and the commission, not to the audience or the staff. Please do not applaud or react to the speakers. Speak from the audience, cheer, carry on any conversation with others in the audience, or disrupt the order of this meeting in any way. Be aware that these hearings are not a debate or an opportunity to ask questions which must be answered by any individual tonight, but merely an opportunity to present information to this commission. Other than the applicant, no person may speak more than once. The applicant may reserve part of his speaking time as a rebuttal and may speak next and last and may use the entire 20 minutes allotted for the pro side of their application. Other than the applicant, no person may speak longer than 5 minutes. If you have a cell phone or other electronic device, I ask that you power them off or put them in silent mode. If anyone wishes to speak tonight, please fill out a form available on the table up front and hand to the staff before approaching the podium. After each case is called, we will hear next from the Community Development Director, and then we will hear from the applicant or their representative about what their plans are for the property, along with any other relevant information they wish to present. The commission members will be free to ask questions at any time before the vote on a project. Following the applicant, anyone who wishes to speak for or against the project or just ask questions will have an opportunity to do so. The city ordinance restricts each side to a maximum of 20 minutes, or time may be waived at the discretion of the presiding official. If questions are raised, we may ask the applicant to speak again. Afterward, we will call for a motion and a second and have any necessary discussion. If the matter is not tabled, we will vote to recommend approval or denial of the application. This commission is only a recommending body. The items will be heard by the mayor and council whether we recommend approval or recommend denial. Unless tabled, these items will be heard by the city's mayor and council at their legislative meeting on Thursday, December 15th, and then voted upon by them at their meeting on the following Monday, December 19th. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from November 1st. Is there any discussion on them? Do I have a motion to approve them?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes for November 1st meeting are approved. The first case is item 22-425. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from R2 Single Family Residential Detached District and OD Office Distribution District to GC General Commercial District for plus or minus 5.14 acres located on Durley Lane in land lots 52, 831, District 1, 18, Sections 5, 2, parcels 5, 7, 10, 39, and 40. Application by the City of Douglasville. Shayla Reed.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. So the item, before we are able to load out, just kind of give a little bit of an explanation of what these items are. So the city sometimes finds that records are not consistent with actions, and when that happens, the city has to decide how to move forward with things. For example, you'll see in my presentation, there are some operations of businesses that may have had licenses to operate a business, but their zoning wasn't reflective of the use. Council would have to decide, do they cease those operations, or do they decide to allow for the operations to continue but clean the records? So this action went before council to request the council for us being staff, to make those amendments or to inform the property owners of the necessary change in their operations. Council decided to allow them to continue operations. So we're going about the right methods of changing the zoning to allow for council's action to be cleared and confirmed. Okay, so I'll present the zoning case to you. As mentioned, this is a city-initiated rezoning. Explained to you that there were some things found in a particular area for Durley Lane. So the applicant is the City of Douglasville. We have, in fact, found that locations along Durley have hair salon, or have a hair salon, a music studio, storage facility, church, automotive towing, property maintenance company, and a tree removal service along Durley. Staff, as well as the City of Douglasville, is requesting to rezone the property from R2 and OD, which is office distribution, to GC. The acreage totaling at the parcels will be 5.14 plus or minus. So as you can see here, you're looking at 5 parcels along Durley. These are parcels that have a commercial use, but they have a residential or office distribution zoning. Those zonings are not reflective of the actual uses. Parcels within that area are very close to other commercial uses, so it's not as if we're putting a commercial use near areas that are not similar. We are, in fact, putting it near areas that are already commercially zoned. To the rear of those properties are an apartment complex. Of course, if you look at a tax record for an apartment complex, they usually see apartments as commercial. It has a very similar commercial operations because there is an opportunity for apartments to be seen as retail because there is an option to rent and not own. So it's a consistent change of use. So it's a very commercial style use. You'll find that again in a tax record. So with that, we're not seeing where it has a very subtle single family use for apartments that it would further north of Durley. With that, you're seeing here the zonings that are nearby. In the green, you're seeing public, semi-public zoning. That is usually where there's going to be something owned by a government. I believe there is where they're housing the school buses in that location. And then you're seeing the apartment complex in the darker brown, and then the pink colors are in fact commercial. So the highlighted parcels you're seeing where we're looking to have it in the pink color as well to make it commercial. So again, it'll be near similar uses. Here you're seeing the future land use. The city has adopted this land for it to be, in fact, mixed-use design within this area. Mixed-use design is allowing general commercial, which is what staff is recommending these parcels to go to. The future land use does support that. Here are some pictures of what's nearby for those, well, sorry, here are pictures of the actual parcels that you're looking to rezone. There's a church, there's a towing company, and there is a printing company and a management company, as well as studios and things of that nature, as I mentioned before, that are located at that site, or those sites. And I'll speak in detail about the towing company in just a second. So staff sent certified letters to the property owners. We informed them of our intentions. We also did a door-to-door access to them as well. So there were times when we either knocked at doors and left our contact information, or we submitted some certified letters. Amongst the 5 parcels with 6 different ownerships, we did notify 6, and we had 4 to sign and confirm that they received that information. So we have, in fact, notified the public. Again, it was going from R4 residential, looking to come into a commercial operation. For the sake of the record, we are also ensuring that the mixed use as the future land use is being designated to ensure that general commercials at that location for future land use. And then going into the automotive towing. So here's where it becomes a little complex. So automotive towing has been allowed at that location. However, it's not a use that would have normally been allowed off of a road such as Doralee. That is an industrial style use. You would have found that in an industrial area and not necessarily within a residential/commercial area. With that, staff is recommending that the property be zoned commercial, but allowing for it to have a grandfathering clause. That would then mean that should this business close, within 6 months of such, a business could not come back with that use. So it closes out that use, and it allows for them to go into the actual general commercial that it's designated for. It does not stop the current use from continuing to operate as a tow company. It just allows for the grandfathering to continue until they can come into compliance with a different use after 6 months of no longer being in use. And that concludes my report, Sir Chairman.
Are there any questions from the board?
I have one question pertaining to after the use, I guess whatever company is there now, there's a 6-month float period, I guess, for lack of a better term, that if nobody else comes in within that time period for that same purpose, then it would revert to what the development plan is, or what's happening with
So
it?
the city has a rule within their regulations called nonconformities, right? So there's a legal nonconformity, and then there's just a nonconformity. Legal nonconformity is where the zoning code has changed, but it has allowed previously for use to take place. But because the zoning code has changed, you're allowed to continue for 6 months after it has stopped the use and still being considered legally non-conforming. These are technically considered non-conforming because it's never been a time where the code allowed for it and then it changed. It's just somewhere or another between staff as well as, well, I'll say the city as well as the property owners. There wasn't a check and balance to see whether or not the allowance of the use matched the zoning code. Staff has since found that because the property owner came in to apply for a business license for a use that I believe had previously been there, and they were told they could not have the use because they did not have the zoning. And after that, we researched to find that this particular area within Doralee has a inconsistency within the entire road. And so to clean that up, to ensure that in the future, the next owners or the next staff who handle such would not have to run into these same situations in the future, we're just gonna rezone it, or we're requesting to rezone it.
So for my clarity, the towing company that is there now will be grandfathered as long as they,
As long as it's 6 months
They're
and a
in
day,
business.
meaning
Oh,
if
okay,
they've
got it.
closed for 6 months, within the next day of their license being expired, if they came in to open again, they would not be able to open. So as long as they remain open, they have the operation.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Thank you.
So I am the applicant, so I don't have any questions or comments. I'm sorry I had to say that.
Right, so you're both. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Yeah. You can fill it out after you're done.
My name's Andy Ledbetter. I'm the property manager for Thurman and Thurman Properties. My wife owns it. But we own 8206 Durley Lane. You know, I'm a longtime Douglasville resident, been here my whole life. As far as I've known in my whole life, those buildings have always been commercial. We recently purchased 8206 Durley Lane, and then when some of our tenants came to get licenses, they were told that it was zoned residential. That's kind of what got all this started, and so I would just, you know, ask that, you know, you approve it so that my tenants won't have a problem getting licensed, and we can make rent, make city money by getting people to buy a business license and produce tax revenue. That's all I have to say. I
Thank you.
didn't give my address, did I?
No.
It's 2033 Sweetwater Church Road, Douglasville, Georgia, 01334.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Okay. Is there any need for any further discussion? All right. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I make a motion, we approve the item.
Second.
Okay, and there's a second? All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is approved. The second case is item 22-426, hold a public hearing and consider request for a change in zoning from R2 Single Family Residential Detached District to NC Neighborhood Commercial District for plus or minus 1.56 acres located on Durley Lane in Land Lot 83, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 6 and 7. Application by the City of Douglasville. Shayla Reed.
Thank you, Chairman. Waiting for the slide to change. There we go. Okay, so this is the same situation. There's a different parcel that has different parameters. So I will explain it the same, but kind of tell a little bit more detail on this one. So this is a property that has an existing daycare at the site. The parcel, or the business has 2 parcels, and it's at 1.52 acres. Staff is recommending the parcel to be rezoned from R2 to neighborhood commercial. We wouldn't want to have this parcel be zoned general commercial, as the very next immediate parcels are residential of single-family detached. So what becomes more pleasing for a single-family detached parcel to be next door to would be a neighborhood commercial. And the reason being behind that is because neighborhood commercial is designed just for that. It's designed for a more pleasing, more comfortable, subtle commercial development than what a general commercial would have. General commercial would have a fast food, but neighborhood commercial would not. So I'm just trying to give a understanding why we're asking for this subtle version of commercial here. With that, you're seeing the parcels that I'm speaking of, the 2 parcels that are immediately adjacent upon each other. Big B Road is where it intersects at Durley Lane. On the other side of Big B is where the single-family detached is located. And so again, this is where an existing commercial daycare is located. It's near multifamily development, single-family detached, and again, it does allow for there to be opportunities for a more subtle commercial than what would have of a general commercial. As you're seeing here, yet again, the property is currently zoned R2 single-family detached, immediately adjacent to other R2 single-family detached parcels with housing located, active housing. And then there's multifamily development to the rear of that, as well as, if adopted by council, general commercial nearby. With that, has the same future land use. One of the future land uses that is allowed or recommended for that area is neighborhood commercial. Some particular reason our future land use has the CN, or the CN instead of the NC, but that is neighborhood commercial. So it is a recommended future land use for that site. Here you're seeing pictures of the daycare. Again, it's a very active existing business. Staff did the same thing. We sent certified letters. We went door by door speaking to property owners. Again, the property is on R2, but it's being used as a child care facility. To correct that, of course, staff is recommending for the parcel to be zoned neighborhood commercial to be very similar to the recommended general commercial to the south, and allow for there to be a pleasantry upon that parcel, as well as the single-family detached that'll be to the north. So we're asking for there to be an allowance of transitioning between the higher density of commercial and the lower density of residential. Again, the future land use does support this zoning change. The child care facility is not an allowed use within R2. So it's just like the other parcels, some of the uses that are identified within R2 are not allowed, but the parcels were having those particular uses. So to make it to be within compliance of a zoning code that works, it would be recommended for it to be neighborhood commercial. There is a special land use that is required for a daycare. However, staff is offering the same opportunity for grandfathering for this as well, because they are an existing business. Whereas they're not going before council for a special land use, they're going before council for basically a zoning change with the grandfathering of a special land use permit. Should they close for more than 6 months, they would have to go back before council for the special land use. Okay. The child care learning facility may continue to operate, as I mentioned, for that 6 months piece. With that, staff recommends for the use to be neighborhood commercial. That concludes my report, sir.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Just one question, speaking toward the special land use permit, so that's gonna be, I don't wanna say waived, but not a requirement since the grandfather?
Yes, sir. So just as the past case had the use that would not be necessarily allowed, we consider it to be reasonable with the special land use for that as well, to allow for the use to continue. Of course, if you go before mayor and council or before the boards asking for a special land use and it's denied, technically you're asking to close the business. So we're looking to allow for the businesses to continue, to allow for them to have the opportunity to operate. However, should they close, they go about an opportunity to sell for the next person, it takes longer than 6 months, then that opportunity of grandfathering is lost. And that's actually spelled out in our adopted UDO of that 6 months.
So if that particular daycare says, we're gone, we're done, but there's a new daycare coming in, they will fall into that category
As long as they're within
also?
6 months.
If it's within 6 months and still without the special land use permit?
Right, so it's not the owner, 'cause the special land use piece that you're speaking of, yes.
Goes with the land.
It goes with the land. However, if this is a grandfathering, so it's different. The grandfathering piece to it is that the code says that if the use is abandoned for 6 months, the grandfathering has been lost. So if a sale continues within the 6 months, the use can continue without having to go before council for the special land use.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If they sold the daycare, like you said, after the 6 months expired, what falls under neighborhood commercial?
So there's uses like cleaners, there's uses like a gas station, convenience stores, things that are a little bit more subtle than you would find of Big Lots or a Walmart or a shopping plaza. Those are the things that are in general commercial. Neighborhood commercial have the things that someone who lives nearby would like to walk to. That's the purpose of neighborhood commercial.
Are there any other questions from the board?
Do we know how long the daycare has been in business?
I don't have the license dates in front of me, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
It's been over 50 years or number.
I don't think there is a road I haven't run on. I've literally run almost, I think, on every road around here. I've even run up Chapel Hill during rush hour.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And the daycare center's
It
on
was open in the 80s.
both
I know.
parcels 6 and 7?
Yes,
It
ma'am.
was
Okay.
open in the 80s, I know.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there any further discussion? No? Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I move that the application be approved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is approved. Do we have any staff reports?
Yes, sir. I believe 2 months ago, you had an application that was on your agenda. One of the things that I would like to do for record purposes is that if an applicant requests a withdrawal of their application, that I come back to you and explain that to you, that they've withdrawn. That's for the purpose of identifying if there is a moment where you're questioning what's the status of something that was previously either tabled or basically tabled. What is the status if you don't hear from it again? So the applicant has requested to withdraw that particular request, but they have informed us that they will come back before you for the same property with a different request. So I just wanted to clear that up, just in case there's a question about the parcel. Okay?
So then we'll have to address this again, but just with half the property, I think what you're saying.
So it'll be a different application?
Different application, okay.
Yes, sir. So
But
it won't be the same application you would have previously heard. We did advertise for it, of course, and I did mention that the applicant wanted to table during that meeting. And so for record purposes, your agenda says tabled, but then if it never comes back up again on an agenda, it leaves that open with no, ending story. So I think it's best that I will put on the record when it's tabled that they withdrew. That way the record can spell out a little better than we've kind of seen in the past.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Is there any further business? If not, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting, call it a year. Oh, we got one more.
Good point that was made by the team. So it's not really an item that's on the agenda, it's just a note, if I can't add to the staff report. There was a Highway 5 rezoning that would have come to you all, I'm sure you recall. There was, it had come to you all before, and then it went to council, then it stopped, and it had to go back before you all because it had a DRI associated with it, so it didn't go through its proper steps. But it would have been a rezoning from GC to industrial. If you recall, there was a lot of residents here speaking on behalf of it. The applicant has decided to withdraw that application. So that application is no longer at our hands to consider. And of course, should they reapply for that application, we will notify, advertise as we normally do. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there is no further business, I say that we conclude for the year. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. This meeting is adjourned.
Amen.
Just in time.
See you all in 2023.
Happy Kwanzaa.
So.